Greetings, Jedi traders. David here of TradingFibs.com to bring you the daily trend for week 14, day 3. It is April 5th, 2017 of Q2. As always, please seek financial advisement when trading with your money, as these videos are for educational purposes only to support your knowledge in the market. See what's going through your head or my head on any given day. Always make sure you have a solid trading plan and always manage your stop when placing a trade. All right, Jedi traders, there's the big U-turn symbol for today. As you notice, it is not sweeping up. It is turned around, and that's exactly where we ended up today. Ouch! Session highlights there as the AM session, YM and ES were charging up the hill. The NQ lagging slightly behind, but making an all-time high today, only for the market to eventually sell off in the afternoon session after a higher than expected ADP report this morning. And FOMC minutes coming out, and maybe a little bit of desperate selling, but definitely an unwinding of the market to give us that pop for the AM session and the big drop. All right, let's go over some of the charts of interest for today. We'll take a look at the pre-trend as we do here each morning, posted 15 minutes prior. There was the screen share again, looking good. Upside on the indices, downside on the overall GC, 6E, and 6J. We were looking at numbers upside on the NQ on the pre-market trend here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the pre-market trend chart. There it is by the MMLs, the Murray math levels, holding above the weekly VWAP, but a little bit of struggling here the last couple days as we've seen price action pretty much migrate above and below it, in contrast to last week's price action, which is held above it. So kind of giving caution here. We're really moving consolidated sideways until the breakout from today. Anyway, looking upside on the NQ versus downside. Again, we got a lot more room to the downside. Hitting a high here today, upside on the NQ, 54.81. So we were looking upside all the way up 54.59, 68 up to 47. So 81 definitely pushing us up above the levels that you see posted here. We had an MML reset on the 15-minute chart. We'll go ahead and show you that in a little bit. But again, this is the intraday pick. Got to have your levels upside, including the bigger picture, which we would resort then to the daily and the range charts. Downside, we were looking at 53.90, 53.49, and 53.12, just based on the MML levels, and getting a low here in the market today at 54.09. So definitely not hitting all the way down, but definitely coming close. All right, so there was our short-term pick on the NQ. We'll show you how we put that all together, though. It's a nice pairing up. NQ, Globex, TPO, we're pretty much balanced profile. Take the Globex low, add your 43.56, you get your ADR high. Take the Globex high minus, and you got your average daily range low there on the NQ. Take a look at the ES. ES numbers pre-market. There were our numbers. We had a high today on the ES at 23.75. And bang, that was our number from this morning. We were looking up 65.75 and 23.90. And to the downside, you can see the levels here as price action up at the upper MML. So any turnaround at this point, we were looking downside to 51.43 and 23.12. And we rang in at 23.43 at the low as price action pushed its way down. All right, so ES Globex, TPO, there it is, Shadow Trader pre-market analysis. Again, check it out in the morning. I like taking his analysis, drawing on my own chart. It's okay to do that as long as you give your source to whoever put that out there. But the idea here is that makes a little bit more sense to me when I could draw it out, see it in my own colors, and regurgitating the material here. Point being, as we've talked about for several days, and Shadow Trader has pulled out of his hat there, the fact that we've had some poor highs here on the end of March, as of no excess at the top. So that was his comment up there, and we would have seen wanting to see price action lift up here and create some value up here, and that's exactly what we got today. So great analysis there. Looking for the turnaround today. I don't think we were expecting that, but then again, never expect anything in the market. All right, so Jedi Traders, check it out. Pre-market trend. You got the numbers there posted each day, with the VIX opening up at 1146 and closing out in the 12s today. But there are the numbers based on the MML charts each day, posted 15 minutes prior to the open. All right, let's take a look at some of the key charts as we saw here in the session today. Again, ES and YM were already running. We had the ADP employment numbers out, so solid Heikin Ashi bars. Little challenging on the tails here. Might have taken you out, especially on the go here as price action held upside, but off the MML lows 2 hours prior to market open. Nice move up here, looking for 2363. We know we got higher on the ES, so a good start to the daily trend there, as there it is, CNBC claiming stocks jumping after the ADP. And there it was. Globex session, a little bit of chop early, and then ES just ripping upside. As long as you got that contract going already on a runner and not stopped out on that first tail, maybe you jump back in, let it go, let it rip. This is what I'm trying to get across each and every day, is to show you on a basic high probability setup, either direction, upside or downside, you're trying to stay in with the HA bars. The Heikin looks exactly almost like what we saw here today. HA bars, much easier to run on to the upside. Don't need to decide what the candle's saying. It's all in the candle. Solid body, tails up, indicating trend. I know the tails sometimes can be discerning, but keep in mind that that is trend. That is trend. Sometimes takes a stall to decide which direction to go, but eventually, obviously, continues in trend, and a great place to bring your stop up from the downside. All right, there was our ES, as we just mentioned, upside, couple tails, sitting above the 51.44, sitting above the prospective VWAPs. Got yourself a nice, strong trend. And there it is, ES up to the MML 2375. That was our high for the day. Murray math levels, nice, sweet move. Pull back here above the cloud, and that was pretty much all the ES saw for the rest of the day. So really nice big picture when you take a look at the overall from the Globex session, off the reversal, all the way up and back down to major support resistance for 50% pullback. Well, that's not where we held. As we'll see here, the NQ also, very nice picture. I want to go over this chart a little bit more detailed here today, but I wanted you would appreciate the NQ was lagging a little bit here, a little bit of chop at post 30 minutes, gave it another push up here. Hopefully tail didn't take you out of that stop at break even, but price action, 2 lifts to the upside. You're looking at the AD line outlier here. That's resistance. That's the end of the line usually. AD line can pull back and push up again, which would then give you another push upside on the NQ. But knowing that the NQ here hit a high of 54.81, we only had a little bit more to go. So not a bad place to exit on the trade. Here we could see the average daily range high was just about hit up here. Actually, we got right above it, and there was your value area. And today's high, today's low at that time that the picture was taken, which was here about post almost 2 hours pre-Euro close. So that's where we were sitting. I want to go over this chart in a little bit more detail to show you how that panned out. Anyway, overall, guys, ES making a major move up and bringing it all the way back down on the 5-4 flex Renko. What goes up must come down on some days, and today was one of those days as the market made a complete, that's right, U-turn to give us a full session on the higher ticks, higher time frame here. There was your Globex upside, chopping it up at the tops on the MML 2375, takes a downturn, opening price up here 63, closes out at 46.50. End of the day, watch your 34 EMAs. I'll go ahead and point that out today, how that can help you as well. YM, same picture, in sync to the upside, nice move. little bit of chops at the top as a YM then turned downside on the 15 tick range chart. Go to the higher time frames when you got these long trends down, keep you in a little bit longer and keep you out of that chop. NQ, same picture here on the 15 tick chart. That two entries upside that we just saw here. Let me pull that chart up. Remember, there it is, a little bit of chop. Well, looks a little bit different on the 15 tick chart, a little bit smoother. That tail there indicating that chop. Hopefully it didn't take you out. Either way, trend is to the upside clearly. Price action, you might have bailed up here as soon as the solid body tailed down, if that's your trading strategy, or you gave it an opportunity to go back upside. You move your stop from here to up here, and then eventually up here, maybe you moved it up a little bit closer. You're watching the MMLs, and you got out somewhere up here and gave you another opportunity to the downside. All right, so there was our NQ big picture. ES, there's our TPO. Ugly, ugly, ugly. Value got a slight P pattern here today, giving us a weak high up here. Also a weak low, definitely. But single prints down, not as bad, but surely we'll want to see us build up some value up there. Let me go ahead and for a second bring up the big picture on the ES. Is we just took a picture here, but gotta appreciate this. After mentioning the shadow trader and the weak high here, what did we do? We built up some value in this area where that poor high was from the previous session. But again, ES pulling it back downside towards the end of the day. As we could see, the end of the day primary price action at the lows. And NQ, same picture there it was. Appreciate the average daily range as price action. Very interesting. You see from the previous picture on the NQ, let me pull that up here. There was your average daily range up here at 54.79. Well, how did it go from 79 downside? Well, as soon as price action went from 79 to 53. So it is all based on Globex high, Globex low. So if price action holds at the Globex and low and above for the day, then the average daily range high stays up, and that's our arrow. There it was sitting up there around 54.80, 54.79, and price action got exactly there. Once price action then comes down underneath the Globex low, that will bring the average daily range high down, because it's all in relation. As price action came down, the ADR high down to today's low would have been 44 ticks down. So it's an inverse relationship as price action either stays above the Globex low or goes below the Globex low. So Globex low upside, 44.22 would have put you up in this range. Once price action broke below the Globex low, then we take the average day, we take the today's low, we go from today's low upside 44.22, and that's where we get our ADR high. So you could see as price went down, the average daily range high would have been tailing that in reverse. All right, so that's how we use those charts. All right, let's jump in here to the charts as we saw them today. Again, market profile here. This is the VPOX volume profile. Again, not much up here, so we got a weak market. We got weak price action upside. We'll want to see that eventually repaired. Looks good down below 70% of today's range. You know, we got these single prints in the middle, so we really have two areas of value, but not much built up here as it happened towards the end, later end of part of the day, closing out two former VPOCs. Daily gaps, we made an all-new all-time high there on the NQ, so 3 this week. But again, market action now back under the weekly open, wiping out several days of price action to the downside. And you got to appreciate the AD lines as 1600 was the high level, usually is, on the outliers, as the YM also poked up here to 25 and the ES up to 430. So that was our 1370, that was our 2375 on the ES. So watch those AD lines. Market internals tried to make a go at it again and eventually turned downside here on the FOMC minutes. Same picture here on the NQ at the upside, makes its way down to negative 45, usually an average number that we see in the markets. Well, there were your indices today. Gotta appreciate the fact that while the downstairs charts had their run, it was the crude here doing its own thing on EIA report after we had a build here today on economic data. Really not moving much other than to the downside. A little bit of chop there on the initial numbers, but eventually crude coming a little bit down as we now hold in the high 50s as we work our way back up. Remember, we got some daily gaps on the crude as we've worked our way back upside. 47.85 and 49.63 first gaps to the downside. All the way back up, we might see 55.41 eventually closed out. Gotta appreciate the price action. Doesn't take much to see that while the markets downstairs were running down, the upstairs GC was getting a little bit of pocket of trend here. It was post the FOMC minutes release. There it is, a little bit of stall at the VWAPs, and price action continued to the upside. So overall, good trend. Hey guys, let me point out here again, I want to show you on the charts as the NQ on a higher time frame chart, 15 tick, there was that AM session move to the upside. A little bit of chop as it revisits. AD line, got to appreciate that AD line again, revisiting the high, pulls back, gives you another opportunity if you were bounced out for another move to the upside. But once we were up here and not moving anymore, one of two things. You either bailed at the fact that A, the AD line was at the outlier again. 2, you hit an average daily range high. 3, you were at the MML highs up here, all right? And I probably pull this up on a 15-minute chart. But again, same picture here. We were at the upper levels here on the overbought. So you got 1 market internal, 2 market internals, and you have an average daily range high. Could we move up higher? Sure we can, but you're not. Look, if you got to be ready both directions every day. And the fact that either you were stopped out or you bailed up here, which would have been not a bad decision, price action did follow through to the downside on the FOMC minutes. You might have waited for underneath the VWAP. If not, you got the turnaround on the AD line. You got the turnaround on the MMLs underneath 54.68. And you can see here the line coming down on the average daily range. You can see the line migrating down. We saw that here. Let me show that to you here. The average daily range ended up shifting here. Let me see if it was this chart. Nope, 54.79. I can't remember which chart I had here. But anyway, so the MML here on the on the NQ ended up pushing to the downside here to 54.53. So nice, good example of showing why the AD line ADR line moved from up here to down here is because price action continued to break underneath the Globex low. So put it all together, you got yourself a nice trend, not only to the upside this morning, but the turnaround, whether you grab the top or you waited for the trend to follow through, and the fact you can even throw this on your chart, the 34 EMA. If you go down to a 10 tick, there it is on a 10 tick range chart. Look at the pullback here. Price action came underneath, pull back here, pull back to the 34, kept you in the trend. So maybe you didn't get the first part of the trend, but at least the pullback here did not break the 34 EMA, and you got yourself a downtrend. Very nice move overall. All right, so where are we headed into tomorrow as we wrap this up here? NQ again at the MML lows. Look, we've been struggling around the weekly VWAP here, so I'll be looking downside here. We don't have any new MML levels, so upside I could say if Globex decides to come back up, watch 29, 49, all the way up to 68 would be a pretty amazing move for Globex. But we've reached down now to the lows again, as we did here this week several times. If this is the low of the session, we get some buying back in. We'll be looking to the upper levels again. But right now, the trend downside, so we'll be looking for the Globex follow through maybe to 53.90. And then we would want to go to the bigger time frame, especially the daily, to see if we make it down here to 53.90 and the 50 period SMA. All right, so keep a heads up on the NQ. And also make sure you check in 15 minutes prior to the market open to see where the current trend is on the charts. Take a look at the YM across the board. Again, YM making that move from the 15-minute MMLs downside to the reversal. Anything downside, we'll look for the 15-minute to reset in the Globex. Keep your eyes down here at 469 on the YM. And the daily, which we know we've been struggling with here, as we've been unable to hold above that 50 and the 10 EMA now downside. I got to give the momentum here slightly to the downside on the YM. So we'll be watching the YM if it continues to migrate downside. If not, we'll look for the back upside here to 781 as we had this morning. All right, last the ES, price action on the ES. Again, from the lows, from the highs to the lows. We've reached down here 43.75 at the lows, so a little concerning. If we hold here, that'd be great. Come back upside 59. If we're going to head down further overnight, watch all the way down to 23.32. Let's take a look at the daily, how we're doing on the ES. Again, back underneath the 50. Don't feel good about that. So we'll be looking all the way down even to 23.1250 if we don't stay here, or at least a little bit upside tonight on the ES, and we'll go ahead and reevaluate that in the AM session. All right, as always, a lot to cover, guys. I want to give you as much information as possible. I appreciate you sitting here for 20 minutes going over the charts. Hopefully that gives you a good sense. If you're interested in joining us, our community of like-minded traders, feel free to email me, David at Trading Fibs. You can join us any Thursday or Friday to view the live chart setups as they happen in the trading day. So where are we going from here? Well, we had FOMC minutes. We had ADP employment. We're headed towards the end of the week. Employment situation, non-farm payroll. So that will be a biggie as we got a couple more Fed speakers on the circuit doing their thing. All right, that concludes an insight into the daily trend and key futures markets as I see them every day on the technical momentum. Feel free to stop by at tradingfibs.com or any of my social media outlets to obtain more information. My mantra is really to keep it simple on any chart, any market, any time frame, to keep you disciplined. Hey guys, you can find me every day on Twitter at Trading Fibs, and as always, I leave the crystal ball to the experts. I'm only watching what's in front of me and on my charts, and as always, leave your bias at the door when trading. It's not about getting at the absolute bottom. It's not getting out at the exact top. It's trying to just get a solid trend, a solid piece of the pie on the charts. Whatever moving average you're using, whatever studies, maybe the Heiken Ashi bars, maybe the MML studies will help you out. Take one piece of that, come up with a trading plan, and ask yourself the most two important questions that you should have every day inscripted in front of you. What puts you in the trade and what takes you out? If you can answer those two questions, you're a lot further along than most traders out there, and it takes a long time to get you disciplined there. All right, have yourselves a blue zone day wherever it may be. Middle of the week, it is April. Enjoy yourselves. Have a good day, have a good night, and good trading to you.